Our neighbors out there in Barbados recently joined us in the land of republicanism. Barbados recently became a republic. Now, exactly what that is seems like it's a bit confusing, not only to onlookers, but even some Barbadians also. And as far as the understanding of exactly what a republic is, it's a country basically controlled by the people and their elected leaders, their elected representatives. And also, it's controlled by an elected or an appointed president instead of a monarch. And that's the main difference that Barbados had, because for the most part, Barbados was run by the elected representatives of the people for quite some time now. 50 something years, I believe. So they had that democratic republic side for a while, but what they did not have was the head of state being a president. And that's basically, for the most part, what they changed, the monarch to the president. Now, I think from my reading and understanding, for the most part, it seems like for the most part, those changes are more symbolic than significant in terms of the everyday running of things, because what the monarch did, it's kind of the same thing that the president is going to do. But however, now your head of state is both figuratively and literally a member of your own country. So you have that sense as you are a rule upon to yourself. You rule your own self without having any outside person being above you. So I could understand the symbolism in that. Now, that being as it is, recently there was a change announced in Barbados that seems to have raised some discontent. Now, Barbados is a unique place. They are a democracy, but bear in mind their current Prime Minister Mia Mottley, she won the elections unanimously. And I believe that was the second one they did that with. I think the one previously, a member of the government crossed the floor to be the opposition. So it seems like when it comes to support, she has that support inside of Barbados. So that's one part to keep in mind when listening to the opposition voices in Barbados. But that being said, there still would be opposition to that. And the idea of a republic in and of itself, the main difference between a republic and just a plain out democracy is the idea of the republic is you still don't take advantage of the minorities because the people are represented by their representatives. It's not just a plain out democracy where whoever has the majority says what gets done. No, each group has their own representative and their representative says what happens. So the idea of a republic is the very idea that you listen to even the minority or the lesser voices. So we're going to dive into that as, taking in a little bit of our Caribbean news and how that goes. I think it's very interesting to follow the news and events of our neighbors also in the Caribbean. If you think that's interesting, to hit that like button. If you wherever you are viewing this from, if you are interested in these things, you can follow me here, Nathan Springer, on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, drop a comment, tell me what you think. If you're a Barbadian that stumbled upon this content, tell me, what do you think about this change that is happening over there in Barbados? The change from being headed by the monarch being the head of state, and changing that even now to a republic where you have your own president. What do you think about that change? And now even this change further where Independence Day changed to Barbados National Day. Throughout the month, the island will be a hive of activity with a myriad of events. November 30th, Barbados Independence Day, will now be observed as Barbados National Day. Minister of Home Affairs Wilfred Abrahams announced the major change today during a press conference at Ilaro Court on celebrations for November. The Cabinet of Barbados took the decision to henceforth observe November 30th as Barbados National Day, commemorating our independence day from Britain in 1966 and our transition to parliamentary republic in 2021, said Minister Abraham. Throughout the month, they're going to have celebrations and events, etc., etc. Now, it seems like this had a bit of a negative kickoff. Over on social media, there were several comments where some people were less than happy over that. And I saw someone in a reply saying that holiday comes from the idea of holiday, and to just take someone's holiday and change it like that, yeah, people are going to have a way of feeling about that. And you have to understand the way humans function. I mean, you could think of it like, okay, it's just a day and the name of a day, it's still having celebration, but some people hold some value on even those simple commemorative things. So yeah, some people weren't happy about that. And I've heard some people say, why didn't they just put a Republic Day on the same time? And another comment I saw was that some people were saying the significance of an announcement like this was something that should have been done by the Prime Minister herself. And that part I could agree with from an outsider looking in. You see, you look there and it seems like the Prime Minister herself is the one with the high public approval rating. So if you're going to make an announcement as such, I think you may have wanted to, let that come from the Prime Minister. Nonetheless, the Prime Minister eventually spoke about it and came out. PM Motley defends Barbados National Day. It is not either one or the other. Both are milestones in our journey. Government's move to rename Independence Day as Barbados National Day recognizes and celebrates two historic milestones, asserts Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley. On Tuesday, November 1st, Minister of Home Affairs Wilfred Abrahams announced that November 30th will no longer be known as Independence Day, but Barbados National Day. Following outpouring criticism, the Prime Minister took to her social media to explain and defend the reasoning behind Cabinet's decision to commemorate both the country's transition to a parliamentary republic and attainment of independence on the same day, despite previously stating in 2021 that government will not change the name of Independence Day. And that's a big part of the problem also. People are upset about the flip-flopping on it. I mean, it's such a minor issue. Why would you flip-flop on it in the first place? Back in 2021, on video recorded in pretty high quality, it was right last year, this same Prime Minister announced to Barbados when they were talking about changing over to a republic that, you don't have to worry, we're not going to change the name of the country, we're not going to change Independence Day, and then a year later, you change it, It gives people the idea that they can't take you at your word. I mean, that's the feeling many people get about many politicians in the first place. But I guess with that knowledge, with having that knowledge, it would make sense that, you don't give them more reason to do so. Ms. Amor said it is not either one or the other. Both are milestones in our journey. As a 56-year-old country, we must act with our minds focused on the future. Barbados National Day on November 30th allows us to celebrate both the attainment of independence and the attainment of becoming a parliamentary republic with a native Barbadian as president. The fact is, our independence from Britain is not being rewritten from our history. We can allay the fears of those who are concerned about that. But equally, we have to celebrate the election of our first president, said Prime Minister Motley. We expect that some will continue to refer to both events as the day, but for the avoidance of doubt, we settle on an overall rubric that encompasses both events, and they have settled on Barbados National Day. I understand that. She's saying that, okay, it's not that they're doing away with the history. Of course, they're still commemorating that independence from Britain, but they're putting it together with the Republic Day celebration, the commemoration of getting their first homegrown president, and that's something that I could understand wanting to celebrate, and they're putting that all together, so as it was a celebration of the past into the future. As an outsider, I wonder if there aren't many more days out there. I mean, I'm a Trinidadian. Us Trinbagonians know about many holidays. We do not lack for holidays here in Trinidad. And I would say if that was up to Trini asking about that, they would just say, choose another day. But maybe that's not the culture out there in Barbados, or not the culture of that government. They're like, no, we aren't going to give too many holidays. So, let's meld them into one. The problem seems to be, at least from their opposition in Barbados, they seem to think that there may be some selfish intent in this even. DLP leader launches petition, slams Barbados National Day. People cannot truly celebrate something they do not fully understand. The leader of Barbados' second largest political party is petitioning government's decision to replace Independence Day with Barbados National Day. Dr. Ronnie Yearwood, president of the Democratic Labour Party, has launched a petition on change.org, citing that the decision was hasty and unwanted. It's interesting that, being the main opposition in Barbados, he cannot raise this issue in their parliament. He has to start a petition on change.org. I don't think he has a seat in their parliament. So, as I said at the very beginning, I think that's something to bear in mind when listening to opposing voices out there in Barbados, that their leader does have quite a bit of support. And even in her social media posts where she came out and defended it, the comments and replies, they were for the most part pretty understanding. So she does have quite a bit of support. In an official statement on the DLP social media pages, Dr. Yearwood contended that the country's transition to a parliamentary republic was nothing but a baseless, mere motley vanity project. He added that the move from Independence Day to Barbados National Day was a selfish attempt by the Barbados Prime Minister to leave a legacy, while negating the national significance of November 30th to citizens. Independence is more than a word to Barbadians. It's a source of pride. The day the iconic broken trident was raised to signify our break away from England. The birth of our national anthem penned by Irving Berge and the pledge written by Lester Vaughan. We will not allow these moments to be erased, he said. And I believe in her answer, Miss Motley was referring to that she isn't intending to erase that by changing the name. We will not stand by as this Prime Minister tries to graffiti her way onto history's page yet again by forcing another unwanted change onto the people of Barbados, Dr. Yearwood insisted. We are not combining Independence Day celebrations with Republic Day celebrations. We are strict guardians of our heritage, and we will not allow Mia Motley to jockey her self-entitled legacy on the backs of those who came before her. He seems pretty upset about that. From the beginning of this process, the focus has been on celebration, not education, he was pointing out. People cannot truly celebrate something they do not fully understand. Understandable. That's an understandable statement. And, you know, in terms of that, again, as an outsider looking in, you could probably see the reasoning why maybe, if you're taking this view, why maybe she would not have been the one to make the announcement in the first place. As I said, and as I said, some commentators said, some replies said on social media, they were pointing out that some announcement this big is something you'd want from the Prime Minister. But maybe she didn't want to do that with knowledge of accusations like this being there, that maybe if she made the announcement herself, it would seem like she's trying to put her name into the history books. That's the allegation here. That what she's trying to do is take this very important thing that already exists and paint herself over it so that she is now tagged permanently into the history books on something that was already there with some significance. And this is a hard segue, something that could seem totally unrelated, but this is what comes to mind when I hear that accusation. At least that sounds similar to the accusation some people level at the present modern day Marvel movies. Yes, from politics to movies. The accusation is that many of the modern writers aren't paying homage enough to the original content, the original intellectual property. And what they are doing is riding on the already hard-earned fame that these comic books and cartoon characters had long before the fan base that they had long before, and using that to try and imprint their own little modern changes and modern legacy on it. And personally, as someone who is a fan of some of these older comics, I am sympathetic to that view, because many of these modern Marvel movies are less than enjoyable. But I digress. That seems to be the accusation from the opposition coming out of Barbados on this change in their National Day. What do you think? Well, wait. Actually, hold right up one moment, because apparently, in the meantime, between me recording, editing, and uploading that first bit there, new news has come out of Barbados. The ruling government in Barbados has decided to change their mind again about this whole changing of their Independence Day. Cabinet pauses Barbados National Day. public talks planned. Abraham says employers will be engaged as well on the way forward. So now that the public outcry was made, the same minister who made the announcement that they were going to change the name in the first place, he came out with a voice recorded message, and recanted on that, basically apologized, said he's listening to their public, and now they're going to have consultation, have a pause on it, keep it as Independence Day for the meanwhile, and have consultation. So, yeah, that was swift. That was some swift action. Anyway, carry on. Drop a comment. This has been a little dive into the politics over there in Barbados, and a change that seems to have some people upset. Do you think that this is something significant? I mean, I am not a Barbadian, so I don't know. But I guess if I were to put that in Trinidad's version, if someone was to attempt to change the name of Independence Day in Trinidad, I think that would be a problem. Over here in Trinidad, 1 year, I believe they changed it from Indian Arrival Day and removed the Indian and wanted to put it as Arrival Day to celebrate for all the other people that arrived too, and that caused some problems. Suffice it to say, it's back as Indian Arrival Day now. So I could understand the problems with renaming things. What do you think? Drop a comment. That's all I have for now. I hope you're educated, informed, or entertained, and I will see you in the next video.